remain solid the whole time. You know? That's a gift in itself. It inspired me to write this. Yeah. Cause I know I'm gifted. I can't tell I'm so gifted. I'm so gifted. Had to learn to change my frequency. Turn to a vibration that preceded me.
I don't actually know how the copyright stuff goes, so I'm using my brother King Kie because I know he wouldn't actually care. Let me get on Instagram and we should be live on everything. Yeah, people, we live on everything, I think. Yeah, so we on Twitch, Instagram, and tweeting again. Behind me, I got my boy King Kie playing. For those that are just now tuning in, you watching Politics is War, and I am your host, B. Ellington. We're going to talk about some Civil War stuff tonight, or some potential Civil War stuff, some civil unrest. So let's go ahead and get into it. Update, Jackson County results. Well, it's official. Frank White is no longer the executive of Jackson County, Missouri. But yesterday, I made a claim when it came to Mr. McGee. Let me just do this just to make sure I'm in, because I had it pulled up before I start talking, because we're going to flow tonight. I think I lost it by doing that. All right, we're going to flow tonight. So I made a comment about Mr. McGee, and I talked about the young lady that had to suffer post-employment issues and employment issues at the Capitol. I was actually serving at that time. I found it funny that today, see if I can find it, that Channel 5 actually did a segment on it. Should be in here. Oh, sorry about that. And if you have questions, I'm going to try to answer them as the questions. Guess I can't move too fast. I'm knocking stuff over. I'm going to try to answer them as the questions come in. Let me find the Jackson 5 one real quick. You know what? Just make it easier. And I see y'all coming on. And like I said, we're going to flow tonight. But I found this interesting. And I actually saved it in the file. I didn't see it. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so I got that pulled up. So let's get it. How you doing, Tracy? Who we got over here? What's up, fam? I see you, Marcus. So today, Channel 5 did a segment. And in that segment, they mentioned the resignation of Deron McGee at the Capitol. And again, I found this funny because we haven't heard anything about this at all. At all. Now, we did a segment yesterday, and we highlighted and we talked about it, and I stated how I actually believed the young lady. I believe that the young lady wasn't lying. The young lady did not want any type of recognition. Here goes the report right here. We're obviously not going to play their whole report at all. And before I get into anything with Channel 4, I want to make it extremely clear that as a former elected, I have sent them several stories, documents, etc., and they've never actually played fair stories. I noticed that they like to highlight negative issues in the city, and by them highlighting Mr. McGee, don't think it's investigative reporting that I'm about to push the button on. Understand this is some type of hit. They obviously don't want him, or somebody doesn't want him to be the executive. I don't necessarily disagree with that sentiment.
Yesterday on John Holt. I'm Lauren Halifax. So these new details include the romantic text messages sent to a legislative employee, who McGee later fired. Fox News Malik Jackson joins us with what he's learned. Malik, this story only on Fox 4 tonight, at a time when uncertainty looms over the leadership of Jackson County.
And again, I call bullshit on Fox 4. He says that these are some never before seen text messages and they're just now uncovered. I call bullshit. Everybody knew about them fucking text messages. That's why it was the issue. It was the issue because we was like, what are you doing? How are you going to continue this process? And had that young lady actually wanted to carry that shit through, we wouldn't be talking today. Had that young lady wanted to carry that stuff through, she probably would still be involved in politics, and she wasn't an elected official. She had a unique position inside the Democratic caucus. And when I say a unique position, they don't have black people that work for the Democratic caucus, right? They expect black folks to get on the bus, and y'all blindly jump on the bus and then wonder why policies don't change. And we're going to definitely get into policies. But going back to the young lady, it was sad. She's no longer involved in anything political. Again, I'm not going to mention her name because she didn't want her name mentioned. She refused interviews. She didn't want to talk to people at the Capitol when the process actually happened. She was only involved because she had to be involved, right? And she also reflected some things to me that as a man, I would have never thought of. Because I was like, why don't you just take it there? Why don't you just whoop-de-whoop? And she was like, well, you don't understand long-term ramifications. I'm like, what do you mean? And then she hit me with the optics of other people. Because even though you're a victim, it makes it harder for you to get employment as a victim, in particular if you're a publicized victim, and don't add legal recourses, meaning that you are somebody that's known to sue, then it would almost be impossible for you to get on. You become what they call blacklisted. So don't be fooled by Channel 4 talking about they just uncovered these documents. Shit, they could have called me. They got my number. I sent them enough information when I was, not about this, but I sent them enough information when I was in office about community events, about things that was happening in the public, everything for free, nothing highlighted, because everything was positive. Anything negative, though, now we got an investigative uncovering documents that have never been seen before. Well, how the hell you find text messages from 2018 and 2025 that has never been seen before? Y'all motherfuckers ain't that good. But anyway, let me get off Fox 4, bro. Election results, though. Frank White is out. So the heat is on. And the heat is on with who's going to be the next replacement. So again, I didn't create these graphs. Turn this around. Sorry about that. I didn't create these graphs. These graphs was created by somebody else. But on this one, you see it says, county official put stadium tax on the ballot, salt sweet tickets as talks were in play. I'm not even going to go there on that. Because as elected official, you do have access to stadiums and all that good stuff. That doesn't necessarily mean anything scandalous was going on. Now, yesterday I did tie together, or at least allude to, the sports authority and their desire I ain't gonna say their desire, the sports authority and their benefit factor off of executive that is friendly towards stadium what's the word I want to use? Stadium redestinations or redesigns for a better lack of commitment. Let me do this too, just because I got this working today, and with this we can have a little bit of fun. I also pulled this up, and we're about to get into the civil unrest, but I started with this, so I'm gonna finish with this real quick. Again, if you have any questions, ask me. I'm checking you out on Facebook. I don't see the stuff on Twitch yet, Instagram. Oh, we on YouTube too. So we live on pretty much everything today. So when you hit their website and you go down to past elections, you hit their past elections. You see the November 22nd ballot comes up. See Frank White, who they gave us, our county executive right there. I may need to dim that light. Let me dim that light. See if that's better for you. The county executive that they gave us that they replaced. And then you see at least 6 members of the county executive on here. From McGee to Husky to Abaca to Anderson to Payton to Marshall. You only need 5 votes to replace the county exec. Like I stated, if Jackson County, Missouri residents don't get involved, it's a very realistic possibility that you're going to have a secret style election. Now, it looks like people are starting to push, but these are institutionals that I'm seeing pushing right now. I'm not seeing the elective actually pushing, saying, hey, we're not asking what you guys think the process should or shouldn't be. What we're saying is we've already committed $2 million to removing somebody, and we didn't remove the assessor who actually, is responsible for the assessments. So that department, that director, and that manager is still there. So you got the fucked up bus driver that's driving the bus, that's still driving, but you got rid of the manager of the bus because he wasn't telling her or removing her for driving fucked up. But she's still driving fucked up anyway. And now you got an executive that's coming in. So again, Jackson County residents, I encourage you to forcefully engage in the government that is still open in Jackson County and demand that y'all don't have a dictatorship or what's the word I want to use? And I'm just going to go with dictatorship right now. Y'all don't want to have a dictatorship and lose control over what should be a transparent process and what should be a collaborative, agreed upon by election. I was not a supporter of Frank, but this was a stadium. Every time I do that, it clicks something. Sorry. This was a stadium issue. It was a stadium issue, but it's bigger than that. My personal observation, I don't think Frank did everything that he was told to do. And I'm not saying why he didn't do it or why he did do it. I think he may have moved slow on some of the things that he was told to do. And I know for a fact that creates apprehension and uneasiness in certain areas. So it made all the sense to get rid of him because now you have all control of the county. Because again, if they gave us 7 members, go back here. Where's it at? If they gave us 7 members, and by 7 members, 1, Frank White. I used to watch Sesame Street, so I'm doing like the count. 1, ha, ha, ha. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Wake up, people. One of them is surprisingly dodging domestic violence charges. And I say surprisingly because if you Google my name, I'm probably on 6 or 7 pages of poking. Fuck, how I'm on 6 or 7 pages. And then you start getting into some of the community events and some of the legislation and all that good shit. 6 or 7 pages. I wasn't poking no domestic violence person. I didn't poke anybody. There's 13 cameras. I actually did an interview with what's the old Mikey? He's in there. I recorded that interview. I think it was Mike. It was one of them. But anyway, we showed the videos. But let's get into some national issues real quick. He did the inner city dirty from the jump. So which one? Because I don't want to talk about the wrong one. So please clarify when you use statements like he did the city dirty, so I can know exactly who you're talking about. Because again, I have no clue right now. See nothing over there. See nothing over there. What's going on, King? Again, I played your music, man. And since you waved, I'm going to consider that as consent to be able to keep playing your music during my segments. All right, first video. And again, we're talking about civil unrest, protests, and what we need to actually do. Now, as you can see, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I'm going to keep a little bit of the sound, but the sound isn't as important as what I'm trying to get across. And again, if you have any issues viewing, let me know in the comments. On my screens here, it looks like everything is clear except for possibly the Twitch feed. But I'm so confused with Twitch, man. I have no clue. All right. That's one. These two, as I'm jumping in and out, these two, I believe, are going to be your swing votes. So this is Miss Marshall and this is Mr. Smith. These are the two I think I need to contact the most. But they're not national, they're in Jackson County. Oh. And it's not a red cup, people. It's not plastic. Why is it doing this? Okay, let me go back. Play this one. This is outside of an ICE facility. In this video right here, where you see the gentleman riding a bike, I actually have the full video. I'm not sure if I moved it over to the Google Drive yet. Like I said, I'm still perfecting the format. But in the original video, what you will see is the cameraman walking up the street. You will see this gentleman that's on the bike yelling, not yelling, but talking to the ICE officials saying, "I'm not a citizen, I'm not a citizen." And they was laughing at him. He drops his phone. So what you see here, and again, I got the original video. I'm not going to look for it tonight because, again, we're in a live format and I'm perfecting my stuff. And as I get perfected, we'll be able to show everything. But we should be able to flow tonight. Where's it at? All right, right there where he jumped, right there. Where he's reaching, where he's about to reach, he's not reaching for a gun. Where he's bending down right there, he's not reaching for a rock. And I watched it 3 or 4 times to make sure. And the officer, where's it at? Go back to the jumping off the curb. This isn't the video that where he's walking behind. But that officer right here, you can actually see a better shot of him in the other video. He actually states it. He's like, he drops his phone. And then they proceed to do this. So they chase him down the street. But what the fuck are they chasing him for? What did he actually do? It is not against the law to say anything to a law enforcement officer. Now, you can interfere with an investigation. You can interfere with an arrest, but you cannot disturb the peace of a peace officer by simply talking to them. If nobody is under investigation, there is no active situation where they're trying to arrest somebody, and you're simply saying, I don't like life. I don't like life. Well, that's probably a bad one because then they could use it as mental health. I don't like the color red. I don't like the color blue. They can't just arrest you for that or try to arrest you. But as citizens, we think this is cool because they're saying it's immigrants. But let me get this picture before I even say it. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to stop dropping it on y'all. Let me get this picture. All right, so this right here, I'm going to do a bigger segment. But this right here is my great-grandmother, right? Can y'all see her? She got extremely high-ass eyebrows, nose, right? She's Native and African. I got another picture I'm going to show you how to prove it. And in that picture, you're going to see a whole bunch of people that look like they're either Mexican or Hawaiian and a black girl with a baby. Why did I say that? Because all of them, everybody, y'all all immigrants. So if this is a country that was founded on immigration and immigrants, and this is a country that was founded on the rule of law, how are we comfortable and cool with this? You see how everybody's, Elma always has information and stuff. You see how everybody is comfortably, let me play that one again. We gotta cut Elmo out before they try to copyright my ass. Everybody comfortable with it. It's like you shopping on a Saturday. This is what America has fallen to, and I got a few more in here. And again, as y'all got questions, make sure I check because I'm trying to talk slow, so I make sure I hit questions, comments, videos. And when we have executives and presidents, and I'm not going to say it's Trump America. Like I stated last night, we have to get out of that mind state where we're calling it Trump America, because by calling it Trump America, we're allowing this to be normalized. This isn't the Ethiopian cross that it started off as. This is some bullshit. Right here. Not the Ethiopian cross. So we can talk about symbolism and we could talk about what something used to be. But in reality, this, it should be playing. I want to turn this one up for you. They're not really cussing. What you're going to see in this video is probably Pablo Escobar's cousin, but he looks like he's selling food. But I know they couldn't just be kicking up in somebody's spot that's simply selling food, because that'd be fucking crazy for us as a country to not say anything. And I'm not saying not say anything, but not to actively get involved. Where are all the libertarians? Now I'm talking to the Republicans. Where are all the libertarians at? We bleed the Constitution. We bleed the preamble. I didn't serve with Trump Republicans, but I did serve with libertarians and mega Republicans. We're not mega Republicans, excuse me. Libertarians and the Tea Party. The Tea Party Republicans, where y'all at? Why ain't y'all burning this shit down? Why is this copacetic? All right. Let me see if I got any questions. Let me jump real quick. And again, you see them bringing them out. It wasn't 10, 15 members of Al-Qaeda in there. Now, all of this is popping off. All of this is happening. And then they confusing us with government shutdown talk. Well, we got unpaid troops, organized militia, and healthcare that is about to balloon, according to the Democrats. Let's make sure we hit this.
This is some sort of cooked up. I got a text from a buddy of mine. He got a letter.
There you go. Let me go back real quick.
This is some sort of cooked up demand. I got a text from a buddy of mine. He got a letter. 40% for his father's premiums. This is not a talking point. This is not an allegation. This is literally what's happening. And 40%, you should be lucky if it's a 40% increase. The average increase is going to be 114%. And so the time to solve this problem.
All right, confession. And my sons know this. Like when my kids, my daughter knows it too. My kids, I used to tell them that I was a valedictorian to make them do good in school, right? So they're in high school now, and I finally confessed. I was like, all right, I didn't even do good in geometry, man, at all. I probably was one of the worst students that you can have in school because I thought it was biased. So I don't know how to do this math, but 114% is going to kill the average person. Now, I know in Missouri, when we passed the health care, which they called Obamacare, I'm going to get to that question real quick. When we passed the health care in which they called Obamacare, Republicans was adamantly against it. I argued, obviously, for Medicaid expansion. I argued that the Republican counties was going to be the hardest hit by census data because they got the highest poverty rates in Missouri. Like we think about Kansas City and St. Louis, but they got some rural areas that's poverty's in the 60 and 70%. Dirt streets and all that good shit. But they voted against it because it was called Obamacare. It was tied to a black president that was not supposed to be from America. But our president lineage, our current president lineage isn't from America either. But y'all hush on that. But anyway, with Obamacare, they cut that. And for those that are watching, do the research. You'll see that Missouri got hit hard. And you'll see that rural areas shit closed. And it was the Republicans' fault. They carry that. And this is a nonpartisan podcast. How do you, though, the Honda plant is good example. Which Honda plant? I'm not actually sure what you're talking about. Not actually sure which Honda plant that you're talking about, but I can tap that into my area. My area, I stay not off of, but I stay by Cleaver Drive. Over there, we used to have a GM factory. That whole area is contaminated. How do I know? I've actually requested cancer cluster studies. So if you live in Kansas City and you stay off of 31st Street, you should actually be checking in. This on the house. Yeah, I addressed that on the house floor. I try to address it on the city level too. A lot of blockages, and those are institutional, but I'm not in a position in which I can be blocked anymore. So when you talk about the healthcare issue in Kansas City, because this is what you're referring to, she's referring to an issue in Kansas City in between 31st Street, Indiana, over to Jackson, down to like 22nd Street. It's farther than that, but those are documented areas. If you live in between those areas, you need to contact the Secretary of State, no, the Department of Health, the State Department of Health, send them an email, and then they'll send somebody out there to investigate the area. That's the only way you're going to get pinged. And pinged is by having your house and your people notified. I requested a cancer cluster study in 17.
Do any other way. So
anybody that's involved in that type of work, you can actually pull that cancer cluster study up, and you should be able to have that. I requested that so it can give factual documents. And I also, on the council level, I did a resolution that identified all 600 and something contaminants, and then there was another 1,200 something contaminants. So if you're involved in that type of work, you can pull that standing resolution up. And the funny thing about that, all right, now I'm talking shit. The funny thing about that is I don't do shit out the side of my neck. Even talking, I can go live because I used to do my town halls live, but I study. I don't care how I come across. So with the standing resolution, I knew if I passed that, we passed a document recognizing all of the known contaminants. And I gave that I gave that proclamation to Maurice Copeland. So it ain't even hard to find, man. Y'all can just type in Maurice Copeland resolution proclamation, and y'all should be able to find that. Y'all can request that proclamation, and y'all will have over like 1,000. I don't remember how many is in there, but y'all have over 1,000 something contaminants. Now Justice Horn wants to run for county executive. When you choose to truly stand with the people, they wage war against you. Yeah, they'd already been waging war against me since I first got in office. But I don't want to get into that tonight. Poor whites always vote against their own interests and support of white supremacy, which is true. But I would say black people do the shit too, because we blindly vote for a Democratic Party that only gives us excuses. We see legislation passed or supported animately for everything else, and then we have excuses for institutional issues. This is the debate I have with one of my friends. He's a wealthy attorney, and he's a Republican. So we sitting down, and I'm talking shit. I'm like, man, how you fuck with Trump, boy? And he's only keeping honest, man. It's my wallet. It's how I benefit. So I was like, so you cool with all of the inconsistencies and people losing out because you personally benefit? And he was like, yeah, unfortunately, that is what it is. So when we look across the board and we talk about poor people, whether they black, brown, Latino, we have to be smarter than the political paradigm and the political party and say we only support policies the same way everybody else does. We don't support anything else but policies. I don't care who you are, what party you with, what your name is, or how you speak. What policies are you standing on? All right. Yeah, I became a threat to him, but I think we're going to be a bigger threat out here. Let me get to this video real quick because I want to dive into the civil liberties.
That you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers.
Yeah, hear that?
Ways,
on the backtrack.
Benefits of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting.
All right, quick story. So I'm on the floor, right? And there's a Democrat, Kathy, I don't know her last name. She's an all-white lady. And she came to me and I was trying to kill her bill. And she pissed me off and I really went over to kill her bill. She's like, Ellington, I can't believe you're not supporting it because we support. And I was like, why? Because we support all type of issues for you guys. I'm like what? She was like food stamps and Section 8. What the fuck? Who? You can cut all that shit today, is what I told her. I said, because if you look at the numbers, so-called minorities don't demand the benefit of resources. And that's on the state level. So it's the same on the federal level. So when he talks about medically doing this,
of people, we don't want to do that, but we don't want
fraud, waste, and abuse.
Go
We
back.
can cut large numbers of people. We don't want to do that, but we don't want this, including benefits. We can cut large number and other ways, including benefits. We can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of
Now he's
people.
talking about they can do this in the abstract of the government functioning properly. You know, we don't want to do this, but since this is a shutdown, we're probably going to medically cut a whole bunch of shit. Now, in politics is war, again, we try to cut through the optics and get to the heart of the nature. What is the overwhelming benefit of not passing the short-term spending bill? Now, we can go back to the insurance, and I believe that the insurance is going to balloon. But if the government shuts down, doesn't it damn near guarantee that it balloons? If negotiation is the top of the key, shouldn't the strategy be like to keep it open and to ensure that we got legislation that we're drafting and messaging for the American people to get behind to ensure that they shit don't go up? Because I don't care if you white, black, old, or racist. When you go to the doctor's office and your premium was $75 and your shit is $1,750, I'm pretty sure everybody gonna be upset. I'm pretty sure that's a message that you can get across to everybody. But we don't see that. And why don't we see it? Is it contaminated across the street from the new jail? Nah. So the inner city, and I'll get back to that. But they asked, is it contaminated by the 40 highway? So in Kansas City, Missouri, they have a new jail that they've been working on. A city jail. The county has brought a lot of land. That area over there, I'm not going to say no, but it's not contaminated with the plume that I'm talking about. The plume that I'm talking about originated over there by Central High School, and it got into the pipes, and then it plumed. The plume is like a technical word that they use where it's gas and it kind of blows out. So it's in the pipes. I ain't no telling how far it's going down, but anybody in that area, when it rains, they smell gas, and nobody questions it. They just think the shit's natural. How is it natural for rain to produce gas out of grass? So again, that was inner city oil. A lot of people try to blame it, put it off on inner city oil. Inner city oil absolved that. Councilman Cleaver and a few other people came with a compromise, but that compromise wasn't for everybody. I actually showed up to a lot of those meetings, and you can go on my page on Facebook, and you'll be able to find some of those hearings and community meetings in real live time. I believe they're shutting down because the petrodollar for the first has collapsed. All right, so now we're talking about economics in colonized countries. I didn't bring those tapes because I didn't know if we was going to get there. But if we're going to be honest, America is what? What do they tell y'all America is? Experiment? Don't they tell y'all that? There's kings and queens. There's kings and queens all over the world. We don't pay homage to none of the kings and queens or lineages of any of those kings and queens, but we do to England, right? We had a Revolutionary War in which they threw shit in the ocean, no more taxes, right? But yet and still, we still pay service to Europe. I would go as far as saying that since our laws are structured similar to the Roman Empire, Senate, Congress, symbolism, and Rome was known for conquering countries and leaving ethnicity and culture intact, and only requiring payment and homage in form of payment that may be America isn't America and is more or less an experiment by laws, statutes, and colonization. So when we talk about colonization, we typically get caught up in black and white. That's why these videos are so interesting to me. So we typically get caught up in black and white. And I talk about black and white without hesitation because to me, I'm not afraid to dive into the subject matter or culture. Oh, I'm gonna have to get off Instagram because my other videos have not shifted over, and I know that's where they at. Let me see. Oh, no. I just didn't click in. So let's go. Let's get it. Prison country. Only if we allow it. We allow this to be associated with this and to be copacetic and cool because we got free speech. Free speech doesn't mean I sit there and allow somebody to disrespect me because I got free speech, right? I can make you just as uncomfortable as you make me. And I'm not talking about being aggressive and trying to fight people, but I can make you just as uncomfortable as you make me. I can make your normal non-normal. Didn't they do that to people that mentioned Charlie Kirk? Didn't they do that to people that mentioned him? People resigning, people getting fired. Because they serious. They serious about what they standing on. And what they standing on is straight ignorancy. They standing on heritage. And this is one thing that people don't pay attention to. This is one of the reasons I saw her. My great grandmother, you know what I call her? I called her Awu. Awu. All right. That is not a normalized African name, I don't think. And when I get into the culturalistic aspects and I get to showing documents and pictures and different things, I think we should question. I'm going to tell y'all something else I tell my kids as I'm going through these pictures, as I'm getting to it. This is actually interesting. So I asked my son to ask his history teacher this. I was like, if all black people was brung over as slaves, right? This is what they tell us. All black people was brung over as slaves, and that the kings of different tribes was fighting and they was warring, and then they sold their ops or opponents to be slaves. I was like, all right, let's say that's real. Why, when they got here, could they not communicate with each other? If me and you are fighting, we have to have something in common that we dislike each other. We have to have some form of communication to trade. If we're warring and we're fighting, our cultures have to have a physical conflict, which means there has to be something that drove that physical conflict. You don't just wake up and run up on 50 people, right? So if that's real, got here and they couldn't communicate, there's something wrong with that story. Now, if what was told to us in history before it was modified, and when they came here, they seen people that was copper, then that makes more sense. It makes more sense that you got melanated people here and melanated people here, and then we castrated and killed a whole bunch of elders and adults, and now we have youth, which isn't hard to do. It's not hard to manipulate 3 generations at all. It could be Egypt. I'm not getting into that one tonight only because I don't have my videos for that. But there is videos out where Elon Musk is talking about creating a new god. Also utilizing Memphis. But I don't have those videos, so I don't want to go down that path tonight. But I do want to get into this real quick.
Tell the Attorney General that the president's name is in the FT funds.
During many conversations that the Attorney General and I have had on the matter of Epstein, we have reviewed.
The question is simple.
Who
Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name is in the FT funds? Yes or no?
Why don't you try spelling it out?
Yes or no?
Use the alphabet.
Yes or no?
No.
Spell this shit out.
Director, it sounds like you don't want to tell us. Did you tell the Attorney General that Donald Trump's name was in the FT funds?
Why don't you try serving your constituency by focusing?
All right. For those that don't know who that is the FBI director. And the reason I played that is because, again, as citizens, we have a duty to either allow madness to reign or not. And I'm not making this about the Epstein's files. I don't even want to talk about that. But the fact that you have a director over law enforcement, all law enforcement, the head of law enforcement, that refuses to answer a congressional inquiry is problematic. It's problematic for several reasons. Because, again, we are saying Trump America, Trump's attorney general, FBI director. No, brother, this dude is not Trump's FBI director.
Did you tell the attorney general that the president's name is in the FT files?
At
There are
all.
many conversations that the attorney general and I have had on the matter of Epstein. We have reviewed.
The question is simple.
The title of the office isn't Trump's attorney general. The title of the office isn't Trump's FBI director. He's the FBI director. So where are my committed service members? Right? I thought the oath was to the position, not the person. And how were citizens supposed to not follow what they see? If you see authority not following authority, how does the populace not become problematic? I've always believed that people learn from observation and participation, from the time you're a baby to the time that you die. What you see is what you participate in and what you become. Why they say environment has so much effect on people. So the heads of what is supposed to be normal and respectable is saying shit like this.
Care less.
Hold on, let me get out the way. And I keep dipping because I have these cameras here.
Care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime.
Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are.
So as opposed to talking about merging and getting past differences, we just make it political. And then we have words like this. And I'm gonna get to this video too. I think I got this video locked up. And then we have words like this. Antifa, anti-fascist and anti-racist political movement. It is sometimes described as highly decentralized array of autonomous groups in the United States. Antifa political activism includes nonviolent methods of direct action, such as protesting, flyer campaigns, mutual aid, and speeches. Dig this. So now I know I got it in two of them. Dig this. Go down real quick. And tomorrow I think I'm gonna put this shit with numbers. I think that'll make it a little bit easier for me. Dig this. No, this is, I'm gonna come, since I'm here, I'm gonna play it. So this guy right here.
What you're doing is not what he promised. He said criminal, that's the criminal. You guys wanna get a criminal, that's the criminal. You wanna get a city state, I'm with you with that. But you're not gonna go.
Now the way he's saying that shit, he sounds like he voted for him. He's not doing what he said he's gonna do. He actually is doing what he said he was gonna do. He actually is. 100%. Immigrants, clean up crime, and crime is a code word, not for crime, but crime is a code word for what we can say black. But I actually think it's bigger than just simple color lines. Color lines have been utilized to colonize us for a long time. I think this is bigger than the color lines. Not saying that it's absolved from the color lines, but this is a problem waiting to happen. This is Chicago. I cut the music on this, so I don't want to get hit for copyrights. But if you see, you'll see, this is one I was talking about the other day. You see a whole bunch of people on one side, and look at law enforcement and ICE just walking. What's the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this many officers walking through the community without resources? What's the purpose of this? Look at all the trash there. So if the purpose was to make stuff safe, shouldn't these officers be patrolling with resources and access to things that make people whole? When we talk about trash and environment is the number one driving factor in education. So, and we know this. Why ain't they marching through this computers and tablets? and as an elected official, former elected official, when I see shit like, my mind goes to allocations. You know how much money this is to have them marching? And problematic. We've had laws in America in the past that was constituted against search and seizure, right? Walking down the street, we stop you, we just search and seize. Well, we comfortable with this? This is seek and find. We're not searching and see. This is seek and find. Who are you? What you on? Let me see your passport and your ID. And you think this shit is only going to be for Mexicans? I'm pretty sure. I don't know what block this is. But if you can see this video, let me play. I don't see shit that looks like Tino in this video. Not, we get to the people. I don't, not, yeah. I see Parker Square in this video. I see Parade Park before it got burnt down in this video. That's what I see. I see the buildings off 12th Street in this video. Trump has definitely done what he said he would do. Democracy be damned. America elected a president doesn't believe in democracy, which is true. Which is true. But see, I've always considered myself a descendant of POWs. Not a descendant of slaves or anything like that, but a descendant of POWs. And you have a duty, if you understand your lineage, to stand up. So you're right, democracy is falling, but are we going to allow ourselves to be rolled over like this? Now remember, I read this. Antifa, nonviolent methods, direct action, protesting, mutual aid, marches, community organizing, right? But this has already been ruled illegal in several states. Missouri ruled it illegal after Ferguson. So it doesn't take much to flip that switch and to say all of these Antifa people, because Antifa has no definition besides protesting, submitting flyers, or objecting, or terrorists. The statutes have been passed in the last 7 months to allow United States citizens to be deported. And people joke and laugh, that wouldn't happen. Well, I know I'm a descendant of folks that believed in spiritualism and transcending reality and spirit, and they all died, or at least got erased and their history got changed and manipulated. So I know it can happen quick. I was in office for almost 12 years. I understand why laws don't pass. I used to think it was a lack of educational or culturalistic understanding or sensibility. And then I got a little bit more seasoned. I understood it was all about the dollar and who benefits. And the most shocking and scariest thing is in each community, they're sold out by those that they think are leaders, which is stupid to me. Because if you don't see somebody around you, they can't possibly live like you. And I ain't talking about showing up. You don't see nobody popping up in the store on some humbug shit. The gas station. They not in your community. And if they not in your community, how the hell you let somebody lead you? And on the national level, they're not absolved from law. On the national level, they're not allowed to do whatever they want. As citizens, we can either sit back, where's the video at? We can either sit back and, I gotta keep switching folders, but that's cool because I got them now. We can either switch back to where we're allowing this to be normal, or we can be aggressively agitative. Let's look at this. And I know we almost at the hour mark, so we're gonna be getting off here in a minute. Again, if y'all got questions, I'm trying. We must.
Cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone. They're brave in our red cities, which we're going to be talking about, because it's a big part of war now. It's a big part of the radical left Democrats, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago.
This shit don't sound like no rescue mission.
That's right. Our military, National Guard military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. Portland, Oregon, where it looks like.
So it look like no rescue mission. And the gentleman that I showed you that was talking to the law enforcement with his hat, this gentleman, this is the wrong approach. You're talking to people whose jobs is to follow orders. This is one of the things I used to get irritated about when I would see fake activists receive payments in black communities. Because they'd be like, we got to talk to the police. We got to do this with the police. The fuck are you talking about? They're at the bottom of the criminal justice pole. You don't talk to the police. They don't create policies and procedures. They follow them. They're law enforcement. The policymakers make laws and procedures, or at least the regulation. State of Missouri, Kansas City. Everybody's like, it's local control, local control. Dude, the mayor sits on the police board. What policies has he actually stood up in the police board meeting and forced a vote on? Right? So, as people, we have to start understanding the rules of engagement and how the political ladder works. In politics, you don't go to law enforcement. They're to enforce the law. The judicial branch, they rule on the law. They don't write the law. The legislative branch, they write the law. The executive branch has veto power over the legislative branch. The executive branch doesn't actually write the law. They give the law to the legislative branch, and the legislative branch will pass it. What has Trump been doing? Trump has been doing executive orders, bypassing the legislative process. You can't do that everywhere. But in the paradigm of politics, you're supposed to have that separation. And remember that. When you talk to a judge or a police officer, you're talking to an interpreter or a ruler or agent. When you talk to a lawyer, you're talking to an interpreter and an arguer. When you talk to a legislator, you're talking to somebody that drafts and changes the law. So when we have this going on, this should be number one when we talk about we're going to have a government shutdown. I found this video too. This is a recruitment video for ICE.
Like Destro's getting away.
Not necessarily, sir.
What are you doing?
So shit getting real. Like when I saw that video, I almost wanted to join because do I want to hit Johnson? Yeah. Back to the shutdown real quick. No, normalize, then shut down. Because I'm not saying quit, I'm saying it's all God. Hold on, let me stop. Because y'all not used to seeing what serial killers look like in real time. So this lady right here probably has about 230 bodies underneath her right now. And if I'm right, it looks like her sock is a tube of cocaine. So I think that's why they're going after her. It couldn't just be because he was coming out of the store and she looks like she's Mexican.
Yo, who for fuck today, Batman? You got a friend that is tripped out. We gotta eat cameras so y'all hurt this man.
And again, I haven't edited the videos yet. I am going to start editing the videos so I make sure I can somewhat control language. Let me get to this part. This is where they came out the car. So that way you can see. And remember, the socks probably got dope in them. So.
That's clear as day. Right. Yeah, what y'all on, man? What the fuck y'all on, shorty?
Hey, bro.
Now it's cool that people are there and they're videoing and they're protesting, but we got to get past the point of sitting there pulling out the camera, watching somebody get their ass beat. Like that's the last thing I want you to do if something happened to me. Not pull out the camera and watch me get my ass beat. Because if I survive that, I'm gonna fuck you up. For videoing me getting my ass beat talking about help. Put the fucking phone down. Sounds like occupation. That's what it's looking like because how are they still sitting on covert fund? You're gonna have to be a little bit more clear. Just so I can know who you're talking about, what you're talking about. If you're talking about some of the governmental dollars, a lot of those covert funds was rediverted. I'm gonna talk from my position that I was sitting on, was diverted in ways that it shouldn't have been. Give you an example. If you live in Kansas City, drive down off of Van Brunt by the McDonald's. So when I was in office, I went live and I did a live over there. And I don't want to be wrong on the money, but I'm gonna say over 50 million to be safe. That was given to them. I think it was a lot of fucking money. Let me not even say 50 because I don't like to be wrong. Let me just say more millions than what they should have got. And if you go to the video, I actually give you an exact dollar amount. Cut a long story short, the city was supposed to give Lotus Group or corporation, whatever they call it, the top name is Lotus, was supposed to give them money and they were supposed to provide places for homeless people to stay and all that good stuff. Drive by there tomorrow and tell me if it looks like it has any type of dollars invested in there. All right. And like I said, I'm about to get ready to get off because I don't want to be on here too long. I want to keep these to about an hour, possibly an hour and a half. Did I show this one? This one. Now, these protests are cute, but what happens when these people that are patting the car gets hit with vandalism? What happens when they scan all those fingerprints and say that not only did you impede an official vehicle from being able to travel, but you did damage, and we have your fingerprints. Right? What happens when they're tired of just simply walking down the street, intimidating, pulling signs. Because I know this video is not the clearest, but why are y'all walking down the street like this? What other tactic besides intimidation can this be? Because again, we're talking about the military. Military usually stacks if they're going in strategically, right? So if they're going in as a full bull group, what's the point? Besides the immediate optics of overwhelming numbers and fear. It's all God. Ooh, need evoking a reason, need. I'm having trouble with that last word, and you're not gonna get me to read that shit like Trump read Tylenol or whatever that medicine was that he couldn't say. I think it was Tylenol. Not gonna get me to read that word just because I can't catch it immediately. Other than that, I'll read the comment. You have to put that in smaller words for me. All right. And I will do a few on currency and the changing of currency. But going out, I'm going to say this. The digital currency and the digital IDs that we're seeing being supported by governments right now is possibly the end game. If it is more than plausible that half of the world is colonized by the same regime, then it's probably theoretically possible that a new form of control is desired and needed. So if we look at all of the countries that are feuding and warring with each other, and I'm not going to do this one because I don't have the videos, but if we look at all the countries feuding and warring with each other, and we look at the lineages of all of these countries, and we extract ourselves from day-to-day survival and put ourselves in the mentality of somebody that has a little bit of luxury to think and luxury to plan, then we see that generations are not 1, 2, and 3 years. Generations or lifetimes passed down. Meaning, I know that if I work 40, 50 years and I amass this right here, and I indoctrinate my children with a certain philosophy and understanding, then that next 50 years, they're going to take what I passed down and they're going to bloom that. Not because of outside influences, but because we've been indoctrinated inside to recirculate our wealth, our resources, and our imprint. So when we talk about 200 years, that's a long time for somebody that's descendant of war. But it's not a long time for somebody whose granddad died at 90 and his dad died at 100. You know, and the granddad, and the son is now 75. America has run a poison scheme with the petrodollar. The UK already launched it. No, I know the UK launched it. he spelled it out for me. Playing terror. The UK already has launched theirs. That is true. I'm going to get into a segment of that, but I like to pair videos of what I'm talking about, and I did not load those videos over. So I don't want to go there tonight, but you're 100% right. They did theirs. And
military leaders were summoned from around the globe. Apolitical office. Nearly 800 of America's top military leaders were summoned from around the globe. Apolitical
now
officers.
they said this was normal, and I have the video in here, but I don't want to look for it just because I don't want to be pushing wrong videos. Let me go here. Pete, our attorney, our head of defense, our head of the Department of War, has changed the rules and the regulations. And this is the last thing I'm going to say before I cut off. And this goes to what you was talking about with the schemes. They have changed the rules of engagement when it comes to what you can wear. And he stated that beards and long hair is no longer acceptable. Here it is. Beards and long hair is no longer acceptable, and that they expect that the military.
This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're gonna cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes.
Did that. You hear what he said? It's like the broken window theory of policing. So again, I want to open people's eyes with politics is war. When we talk about beards and long hair, it sounds simplistic. See this? I get hair bumps. There's been several states, law enforcement officers, and departments that have sued for officers, especially melanated officers, to be able to have facial hair. Because facial hair in cutting facial hair to the skin is different from melanated people. Melanated people, a lot of melanated men that cut their facial hair, all the way to their skin, have bumps and big protrusions. Our sheriff, Jackson County sheriff, actually had to sue when he was on the police department. And that opened it up for a lot of individuals because he has a standing beard, because he has an issue, and only did that to bring it home to people in Jackson County. So this sounds to me like ethnic cleansing of the military. If it's ethnic cleansing, and it was a similar statement to the generals. I didn't keep that one. But if you're not following orders, I'm paraphrasing. If you're not following orders, we're gonna get you the fuck up out of here. That sounds like a cool and ethnic cleansing. And the video that I showed you yesterday with the white guy in the khaki shorts and the no shoes and the gun running up on, I got that video in here too, running up on the people with the gun out. That's normal now. We ain't heard about him being arrested. We ain't heard them condemning the actions of a dumbass deputy, possibly, that's running around in khaki shorts. Where the hell is it at? With khaki shorts and a pistol.
Yo, hey, stop! Hey, Nicholas, stop! George, stop! Stop! Hey! No! Stop!
Man, look at this motherfucker.
Why are you doing? Get on the ground! Okay, bro, what are you doing? Get on the fucking ground! Yo, help! What are you doing? Hey!
He looks like a drunk, bro. And I don't even like, just judging people. But if y'all seen him, I'm from Missouri. They call it Missouri, depending on where you at. If I was in Missouri, I seen him walking up on me. Yeah.
What are you doing? Get on the ground! Hey, bro, what are you...
Again, so that's what they made the house nigga do at the slave time. Which one? You will never see a lion cut his mane. Now I got to go backwards to actually catch which one. Oh, I got you. So that's what they made him do. Oh, okay. Did not know that. Yeah, see, I'm a descendant of those that was forced to be in the field. So, but again, I'm Native and Black by lineage, and we'll get into that with my great grandmother and her people. So with that, thank you for watching Politics is War. If you have not subscribed and share, yeah, I'm gonna end it with that right there, just because we've been on here for a minute. This is
Because they do. Train like your warriors' lives depend on it. Because they do. To that point, basic training is being restored to what it should be. Scary, tough, and disciplined. We're empowering drill sergeants to instill healthy fear in new recruits. ensuring that future warfighters are forged.
Is that what the fuck you want walking down the street? Now, it's cool if you're talking about sending an organized gang of savages to kill the aliens on the moon or in Three-Eye Atlas, right? I'm not promoting that just in case Three-Eye Atlas is real. No, I wouldn't send them to you. But that's like training a savage group and saying that we're going to send you out. All right. But ain't these the same motherfuckers y'all putting on the street? So now you mean to tell me that the people y'all putting on the street are to be trained by being abused before they hit the street? And this shit gonna work out good. They're supposed to go through scary, physical,
Instill healthy fear in new recruits, ensuring that future warfighters are forged. Yes, they can shark attack, they can toss bunks, they can swear, and yes, they can put their hands on recruits. This does not.
So I'm an 80s baby. My kids was born in the 2000s. A lot of things that was normalized in the 80s, I look at their generation, I'm like, what's up with that? We was normalized being rough. So if you normalize being rough to an institutional body that's supposed to be patrolling war zones in the city, and I say war zones because that's not my terminology. Our president actually said that in the video that I just played. See, man, that's why I hate this one. In the video that I just played, didn't he? Didn't he say that we're sending these folks into, is this one it? Is this a death zone?
To a level that you couldn't do any other way.
That's a death zone. I think this is it.
These dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone. They're brave in our inner cities, which we're going to be talking about, because it's a big part of war now.
So the inner cities look like a war zone, and our troops are being conditioned to fight in scary scenarios by being forcefully, physically abused. Yeah, I don't think this shit gonna work out. So again, contact your senator, your representatives, your neighbors. Start preparing for what could be a long, tumultuous, I messed that word up, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it again. Tumultuous, and I say it one more time, it becomes a word. Tumultuous time in the future. And don't get confused by the debt, government debt shutdown, because it's not something that was pulled out of the abstract. We heard Trump at the beginning of this segment talk about what they medically seek to do right now. The last 4 or 5 days, we watched Democrats posture before the shutdown. Yesterday, I showed a video, and I got it in the Google Drive. I don't want to keep bouncing back and forth. I showed a video of our not state representatives, of our United States congressional members standing in the chamber. And I call bullshit on them because you don't see all Democrats in the chamber ever. None of the Republicans was there. This wasn't something that just happened. This was something that, we want to capture, we want to videotape, and we want to put out there. As opposed to going through the numbers of healthcare as the actual issue. Why hasn't that been the talking point for the last 2 or 3 months, the 114% ballooning that is already out there? Why hasn't that been what's been emphasized and pushed and promoted? Why isn't peace across the board and appropriate utilization of the military been top priority if the government is going to be shut down? Shouldn't that be the top priority if we shutting it down? Constitutional violations, the right to actual due process, because everybody's supposed to have the right to due process, the right to be secure in your home. Because everybody's supposed to have that right. And why do I say everybody's supposed to have that right before the people from the right come on here and be like, "What are fucking immigrants?" Well, how the fuck you know that? I'm supposed to have the right to remain silent. We no longer have that right. Because you're walking down the street and they ask you, you don't say shit, what happens? So you no longer have the right to remain silent, regardless of who you are. Well, I have the right to secure papers and documents. No, you don't. Not at all. And you think you say because you got your passport. How the fuck you gonna get out of here? Real ID's real. Right? That shit passed for a reason. It's called infrastructure. And the majority of people don't pay attention. And we don't pay attention because we follow rules that are given to us. And my question, as I close out, is how is any rules given in a democracy when a democracy, by definition of itself, is supposed to collectively draft their own rules? And if you're not part of the process of collectively drafting your own rules, then you're a subject of colonizing. Regardless of if it was the field niggas, the house niggas, right? Since I'm going off to the comments, regardless if it's the misunderstanding of one's culturalistic imprint in history or my history being stolen and lost, that doesn't actually matter if I allow myself to be subjected. Now, it matters if I stand up and walk in liberation. Then it matters because, see, my forefathers that died, my forefathers that was executed, my forefathers that was hung, my forefathers that survived all of that. So my DNA can actually be whole. Well, here I am. I'm walking for y'all. I'm not bowing for y'all, right? Because y'all had to so I can walk. Now, if I bow, then all that meant nothing. I can't even stand on that. You've been watching Politics is War, man. Share, subscribe, and tap in. I'm going to get good at cutting out one day. And your stream will stop immediately. Cool.